Welcome to the Healing Bitch podcast. I'm Jackie Ortez, a psychic medium that has a penchant for all things spiritual. During this time with me, we will explore the world of energy and how it affects us all. Each podcast will address a question submitted from my listeners that I feel I have the authority to answer. So get comfy, throw on your headphones, and let's see what happens. Hey guys, welcome back to the Healing Bitch podcast. I just wanted to start talking about my day today. I had a really good friggin' day, like a really good day. Work hasn't been that busy lately, my regular job, so I was able to relax a little bit. But also I had like really good phone conversations with people. I FaceTimed with one of my friends that lives back in New Jersey, and it was just really nice. And then at the same time as I was talking to her, my friend from England was calling me, and we had been trying to catch each other. We haven't spoken on the phone in probably over a year. So it was really nice to catch up with her too. But when I was talking to my friend from New Jersey, I may have said some stuff that I'm hoping is not taken the wrong way. And I'm going to talk to her about this afterwards or send a message too. So it's not like I'm just saying it on here for her to discover it then. So since I've moved to Maine, I really have been allowing myself to feel all of my emotions. I've also been allowing myself to step into this version of me that's a lot more authentic to myself. When I was living in New Jersey, I lived in a really nice area. I had really good friends. I had a life that was pretty full, went to Pilates, to, whatever, everything. But it just felt so ordinary. And it felt like I was almost trapped in like a suburbia kind of situation, but without the suburbia, how do I say it? Without the suburbia players, like without the husband, without the kid, without the PTA and the school and all that stuff, and without the house repairs. And every time I would be around my friends, I loved talking to them. They did not dominate the conversation at all when we were together. But, as does happen when people who have common lives get together, if there would be a few of us, it would be a lot of talking about kids or husbands or house repairs or upgrades and renovations and all this other stuff. And I didn't notice it at the time as much because I think I was really trying to suppress it, to be honest with you. But as someone is single, no kids, I still rent. So there's no like real renovations that I'm doing. I didn't realize how much I was uncomfortable in those situations. And it's not that my friends did anything wrong. They were just simply talking about their life, but it felt like a constant reminder of what I don't have. And I'm aware that that is my own perception. I'm aware that that is my own, not insecurities, but my own stuff. I get that. That's not my friends. It's not my friends' fault. They're allowed to talk about their lives just like I am too. And then they would give me time to talk about my life as well. But I didn't realize how much I was trying to fit the mold of all of my other friends until I moved. And then when I moved here, I met a group of women very quickly. And the women are fantastic, but they have more of a life that's similar to mine. Like they're still dating, even though they do tend to be a bit younger than me. They're still dating. They're still going out. I mean, I don't drink, but I'll go to a bar to just hang out and stuff. But it almost allowed me to be more open and more vulnerable about what my dating journey really is, and able to talk about and get different perspectives from people. So, sorry, if you see me wiping my face, it's because it is hot and my studio is hot, and I'm probably going to be as red as a friggin' tomato by the end of this because I didn't want to put the fan on because I didn't want the noise from the fan, even though my microphone doesn't always pick it up, but you know what I mean. But anyway, I might sweat to death today in my office. But anyhow, so when I was talking to my friend today, I started to express some of these things that I just talked about, being like, it it's not that it made me uncomfortable that I was around everybody, but it kind of like highlighted the quote unquote lack of still not finding a partner and being single and not having anything to contribute to the situation. So I'm hoping that she doesn't take it the wrong way. I'm going to send her a message after this. But anyhow, the one reason why I wanted to bring it up was because I feel like I am truly stepping into myself more than I ever have in my entire life within like the past 3 months. And I know that, yes, the area is still new to me. That is like a typical thing. Like, yes, I still am living this like exploration and everything where everything is new and it's so fun and exciting and blah, blah, blah. But I quickly have fallen into a routine too. But it's been really cool to be able to not reinvent myself, but show up as the true me. Like, have the space to take those emotions that I may not have had the space for when I was living in New Jersey. Like, in New Jersey, I was just trying to like cope with where I was living and the life that I had. And I was trying so hard for such a long time to just be like, look, I have this great job. I have this great spiritual practice here. I have these wonderful friends. I have Pilates. I have this life. I have this. I'm by family. I'm by this. I'm by that. But the truth of it was like I was spending so much time trying to be happy, trying to be content, and trying to be satisfied that I feel like I couldn't let myself feel the emotions. I couldn't let myself in that situation because it would make me upset. I mean, let's be real here. Like, I'm in the middle of, I've been on anxiety medication for 2 years, right? And about 2 weeks ago, I decided to start the process of getting off of it. And in the past, when I've gotten off of anxiety medications, I have had a ton of side effects, like an absolute ton, even going from just one dose to like a lower dose. And now it's been 2 weeks. So I would have experienced some side effects. I think the only thing that I have been experiencing, really, to be honest, is extra sweating, which is probably why right now I look like ugh, oh my goodness, it is so hot. Anyhow, so my point is that I'm getting off of this anxiety medication because I feel really good here. And it's not just like an elevated, like, oh my God, everything is great. No, there's definitely some things about here that I'm like, yeah, this could be improved. But I feel so much more genuine to myself that I really think that some of these side effects aren't affecting me like they normally would. Like, I have not had an uptick in anxiety. I tried to get off of medication last summer about this time, and almost immediately, like a week after trying to get off of it, I was like, absolutely not. I'm not ready. I need to go back on my higher dose, which wasn't even that much higher, but still. My point is that I feel like myself. I feel like a version of myself that I've never been able or allowed myself to have because I feel safe. I feel safe. I feel like a softer version of myself here. I don't overthink things. Not yet, at least. I mean, maybe I will. I don't know. It's still pretty new. It's only been 3 months, but I don't know. It just feels good. And I had a really good day and really good conversations. And I just wanted to talk about that emotional balance to start this off with. And I also want to say that I have moved more into my intuition being here instead of listening to ego. And let's talk a little bit about the differences between ego and intuition. So I was having another conversation today with a friend. I had a lot of conversations. This one was just through text, though. It wasn't like on the phone. And she's been going through some things. She is in the middle of possibly making some really big life decisions. She's been entering her spiritual journey. She's a spiritual practitioner now. She's doing some offers. She's doing a great job. Like, she's on social media, all that stuff. But she is an overthinker. She's someone that's really, I think the word's pragmatic. I am not good with vocabulary, but I'm going to say she's a very pragmatic person. She thinks about effects. She thinks about what will happen. She thinks about she's a projector, if you know what that means in human design, which means that she's really good with processes. She's really good with, like, this has to come first and then this. She's a little bit of a perfectionist, a little bit of a people pleaser, which she knows. So I'm not saying anything she doesn't know. She mentioned to me she has a problem distinguishing what the difference is between when your ego is talking to you and when your intuition is talking to you. So I figured this would be a really good subject for today to discuss how your ego comes in versus how your intuition comes in. So, first, we're going to start with the ego. And when I see ego, I'm not talking about like a person that has like a big ego and they think they're the best and blah, blah. No, I'm talking about like your human side. I'm talking about like your brain ego part. Basically, what we've been told for years and years and years to function out of, which is our brain, our ego. So a lot of us are used to doing that. That's where we make decisions from. We think about what the best options are. That's using your ego. It is sometimes affected by your emotions. And as we know, or maybe you don't know, emotions are just energy in motion and they cannot be rational sometimes. But as we are in this human experience, we need to feel our feelings. So the ego is like the part of us that makes the list, the to-do list. It's the part of us that analyzes things. It's the part of us that plays like devil's advocate. I hate when people do that. When they're like, I'm just going to chime in here and play devil's advocate. What if this happens? I'm like, shut up, bitch. Just no, absolutely not. It's the worst when clients do that. But anyhow, and I mean clients from my regular job, not this job. My clients here are fantastic. Don't forget that, especially the ones listening right now. But anyway, so the ego is the overanalyzing. The ego is what keeps you up at night thinking. The ego is what keeps you up worrying. It thinks about the past. It thinks about the future. It tries to plan everything. It tries to control everything. That's what the ego is. And again, a lot of us do operate out of that part. Okay. Intuition. Our intuition is a part of our present. It is not thinking about the future. It is not thinking about the past. It is being in the present moment. It is when you are having a conversation with somebody and something doesn't feel right. That's your intuition, the feeling of that intuition, not with emotions, just a feeling in your body. It is when you make decisions. Somebody asks you, or you get an invitation to a party, and then you're like, "Ooh, I don't want to do that." Or, "Yeah, this feels so good." It comes in so fast. Intuition. Very, very fast. There isn't any analyzing. It's a fast, quick, simple answer. And what I've learned in my training and in my first intuition class, I remembered this very, very clearly. When intuition comes in, And if you're watching this, you can see where my hands are showing you, but if not, that's okay. I'll explain it too. The intuition comes in a higher part of your head. So it almost like comes in at an angle. For me, it comes in more on like the right side. So it comes in at an angle into my head. So what I mean when I say that is not like it's like physically coming in, but say some guy asks me to go on a date, and immediately my intuition comes in and I get like a yes pops into my head. The voice of the intuition and the voice of the ego are also different. So the yes will come in and it's almost like a higher octave than my regular voice is. Okay. And it feels good and it just comes in fast, or it feels bad if it's a no, comes in fast. I feel it in my whole body. What happens then with a lot of us is we start to kick into our ego and question what that intuition just told us. So it'll be like, okay, Jackie, you're so beautiful. You're so wonderful. I would love to go on a date with you. And, in my dreams, I would love to go on a date with you. And all of a sudden, my intuition's like, yes, his vibes feel good. Yes, we're going to do this. But then my brain kicks in, and it kicks in with some past trauma and some things that I'm not comfortable around men sometimes. So it's like, wait, hold on. Should we say yes so quickly? Should we play games a little bit more? Should we be quieter? Should we just give him his number, our number, and tell him to text us? Should we do this? Should we do that? Blah, blah, blah. But he has shoes that we don't like, and his teeth aren't perfectly white, and his eyes are the wrong color. You see what I'm saying? The ego goes on and on and on with doubts, with reasons, with thoughts. And that's how you know it comes from your brain, because intuition is simple. It is fast. It's not thinking. Intuition's not going to come in your mind and say, yes, he's your husband. Or, sometimes, no, actually, I guess it can. Maybe it can. Hasn't happened yet, but yeah, we'll open that opportunity. But intuition's not going to come in and say, yes, maybe he has money and it would be good future and blah, blah, blah. No, it's just going to come in and say, yes, we like his vibe. Because that is the present moment. You like his vibe right now. You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the past. And you're not basing decisions on the future and the past. I hope that makes sense. That's a little simple explanation about intuition. Another thing is, how you hear people say, like, I had a gut feeling that we should have done this instead of doing that. That's your intuition as well, but it was overtaken by your ego, which is why that other decision was made. Intuition will not always make sense. It will not always seem like the easiest answer. It will not always seem like the obvious thing, but your intuition will lead you down a path that will unfold in ways that you could never imagine, in ways that are better for you than you could have ever planned yourself. So let's give our intuition a try. This week, let's do an exercise. And this exercise is actually just going to get you in touch with your intuition a little bit more. I want you to lay down in bed or sit on the couch. Just get comfortable somewhere that you can be quiet and you can close your eyes and not be disturbed. I want you to get into that comfortable position, and I want you to lay your hands on your body. And I want you to say to your body, show me where my intuition comes in. Because sometimes it can be, like I said before, you talk about gut feelings, but it's not always like in your gut. Sometimes it could be in your chest. Sometimes it could be in your head. It depends on the chakra that you're the most aligned with, but it also depends on like how in tune with your body you are. So you just lay there with your hands on yourself and you say, show me where my intuition comes in. And it should be very fast. It shouldn't be like a minute later, like your stomach, you get a feeling in it. But like I said, anywhere you get a feeling in your body, just take note of that. And then going forward, try to see when you're making decisions, if, like, say you feel it in your stomach when you're laying down, if your stomach has any kind of reaction when you're making decisions going forward, just kind of, see that. Get in tune with your body. And you can do this exercise over and over again until you feel comfortable and until it looks good to you. So, anyhow, that is this week's episode. I hope this helped, and I will see you soon.